Steve, is this thing on?
Hey, Jeffrey. Yes, it is. And look, there's more than 3 people here this week. Oh, there's 4.
That's amazing.
I know.
Wow,
We mathed
how'd that
real
happen?
hard. We mathed real hard. Hey, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Uncensored Radio Live. As you can see, I have the always amazing Mr. Jeffrey Emmett with us. How are you today, kind sir?
I'm like getting all curly and crazy shit because of the humidity down here. I swore in 35 seconds. Yay, go me.
Bye-bye monetization.
Bye. I discovered something really fancy this week that my children love Friends. Like, obsessed. Like, they sit there, stare at it, and they're laughing at jokes, and I'm like, I'm shocked that they're getting it. All right, I'll take it. That's a win for Daddy.
Look, we're going to discuss that later. I have controversial feelings.
I can't wait.
I have controversial feelings.
Yeah, you and I are going to fight. We're going to
Ms. Vera, under her eye of duty, how are you today?
Doing pretty good. Back to work. That kind of sucks, but it's a warm, beautiful day here in central New York. Sun's shining. Nothing's raining. We're good.
We're good. That's all she's got to say. We're good. We're good. Sun's shining. Nothing raining. Okay, and we have a brand new face joining us today. He's changed his name on me just because I complained about it. So, we have a very special guest host. This man is a man of many hats. Tim, I'll let you. We'll discuss.
But only one head, apparently.
Yes. Look, debatable. So, Tim, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell our wonderful viewer about you.
Yeah. I'm Tim. I've known Steve for a very long time. I'm not going to say how many years because apparently we'll out how old he is.
That's all right. It's all right. You can do it. You can do it.
Almost 30 years. I've known Steve, and so I am a former minister of religion and a current maths teacher, and someone who is training to be a psychologist, a clinical psychologist at the moment. Yeah.
And wants to be Timmy Hedren by the sound of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I live up in sunny Queensland.
Yes, you do. Jealousy is jealousy here. But you've lived all over the world. You've been all over. Why don't you tell these guys a little bit about just the travels and what you've done in your life? Because look, there's probably a little bit of a book there, Tim, that we can get to.
I think I think I'm a bit of a poster boy for ADHD with careers. I left school early because I was kind of done with it, and went and became a chef to start with. So I'm a qualified chef, and I did that hospitality, running restaurants for a while, and then I went. I'm the son of a son and a grandson of ministers, and so after about 10 years of hospitality, I went back to uni and I studied biblical languages and theology to become a minister, and then worked in the church, and in particular a very, very large church here in Australia, and toured as a musician with some very big and popular Christian music sort of groups, and traveled around, lived in Fiji for a couple of years, running a Bible college, and then came back to Australia and decided I didn't want to do that anymore, and went back to school to become a teacher. And I've worked for the last 6 years as a maths teacher, and working particularly with kids with learning disabilities. So I'm a specialist in maths and learning disability, what we call SPLD, specific learning difficulties. And now I've just moved up a bit further north in Queensland to sort of start my study, and I'm working in the healthcare sort of arena, working with people with disabilities for community engagement at the moment. So yeah, there's a lot there.
He's all things to all people, but most importantly, he knows me. So
that's right.
Yeah, look,
And
it
Steve
has
is
been,
my favorite.
It has been the defining like moment in his life, you know, that we met at primary school. But you know,
Absolutely. When you let me sing the high parts in "I Can Show You the World," a whole new world, when we acted out Aladdin in your living room, you know, that's when I knew we were going to be friends forever. Yeah.
He wasn't Jasmine for long though. Work queen. Oh, Jeffrey. All right, Jeffrey's going to be in and out.
Oh no,
we're having signal issues. No, he's just
his internet.
performing hate crimes and stuff against his internet. But that's okay. So yeah, this is Tim. Welcome, Tim, to the craziness that is UCR. It is a very intimate UCR at the moment. We're having I don't know where the rest of our panel is. Or Luke, our other regular producer / panelist, is on the front lines of COVID response in Australian nursing at the moment. So he's jabbing away, jabbing away at the moment. So Luke, if you're watching, we miss you. So hurry back.
Yeah.
I talk to him all the time, but he hasn't been on the show for a little while. So I'm sure the public are missing him a little bit. But yeah, and Vera's also a nurse, but she's American. You're American, aren't you, Vera?
Our COVID battle.
I'm married to a nurse.
Yeah, see, there we go. I knew. You're just the right fit, Tim. I knew it was right. I'm just a psychic wonderkid. So, look, we might as well give you a baptism of fire and jump into this week.
Bring it.
Hot load of hot topics.
Sexy times.
I'm excited.
That's the general idea of hot load of hot topics, is to get everyone nice and feisty. So look, we did the heavy stuff last week. We did a lot of heavy lifting last week. We talked about God, literally God. We talked about God. We talked about religion. We talked about violence. We talked about Palestine. We talked about all this kind of stuff. And then I'm like, now let's talk about
we're talked out on all of those topics, but
yeah, but look, they weren't as prominent news stories this week. I mean, Palestine's always got something going.
Palestine was pretty prominent.
They've always got something going on. Whatever. It's a bit of land about a makeup story. Let's talk about it later. Oh, I'm starting off early. Sorry, everyone. But so I was looking at our stories. I was like, the general vibe for this week is like, millennials seem to be like, really, we're taking our place in society, and like
you're getting old.
The things, no, but the good thing is the things that we like and we liked as children, we are now financing, and it's coming back, and everything's zeitgeisty, and we're trying to change the world. I was like, that's kind of cool, because I think, as I said before, I think in one of our specials, you grow up to be the villain in your own story, but now we're like the superheroes. We're like, yeah, everything we liked was cool, especially He-Man is coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So, Masters of the Universe Revelation has been revealed. The animated series picks up directly where the 1985 children's show ended, but now geared towards the adults who grew up with the show. The plot apparently revolves around Teela, star as Sarah Michelle Gellar, up in Vampire Slayer voice, voice, by the way, having to reunite the original heroes after a devastating battle between He-Man, Chris Wood, and Skeletor, Mark Hamill, y'all. Yeah.
See, I would have thought for Skeletor they could have gone with, like Angelina Jolie. She wouldn't need the makeup.
Oh yeah.
That leaves the Eternians Scattered, featuring other big names such as Alicia Silverstone, Lena Headey, and Justin Long. The series is headed by Kevin Smith of Clerks fame.
Wow.
And looks to be a big hit. It is coming to Netflix on July 23rd. Now, I am super excited.
Now I can't wait.
Gave up on Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, poor Dolph. Poor Dolph. Leave Dolph alone. I tell you what,
movie is that movie, that the original Masters of the Universe movie, is for me the pinnacle of good bad cinema. Like, it is so bad, but so enjoyable to watch.
I
Like,
loved
it's
it.
just atrocious.
Do you know what?
Yep.
Here, a bit of inside knowledge. The only competition that I've ever won in my entire life, actually not the only, but probably one of the better ones, was for a screening of Masters of the Universe when I was much a wee lad on like Agro's Cartoon. Well, actually, it wasn't even Agro's Cartoon Connection. It was Cartoon Connection. So I got 20 tickets to see Masters of the Universe. So like we just ended up getting them all and just like distributing them to people. I went in, saw Skeletor, cried. End of the show. I was like, no, don't like it. Too scary for me. But yeah, that was it. That's my tie. That's my tie to that.
But
I cried
the cast. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. No, the cast in the new version. That's a lot of names from our childhood, isn't it? You know, a lot of.
And this is exactly it. There's so much going on. There's Mark Hamill. Justin Long was in teen movies when we were teenagers. Alicia Silverstone. Hello, Buffy.
And Kevin Smith is my teenage years. So, you know, Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, like this, like I was kind of trying to project that sort of arty, you know, kind of thing.
You were trying to be woke as like,
well,
before it was cool.
Skipping school to smoke cigarettes and in the cafe and write screenplays. That was me. And so like Kevin Smith was my hero.
Bad boy.
Yeah.
But speaking of emo stuff, Wednesday Addams is also finally being cast. So Jenny Ortega will be Wednesday in the Tim Burton totally created and directed and produced and blah 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 series Wednesday for Netflix. Again, Netflix is killing it just quietly.
Netflix knows.
Yeah, Netflix knows what the millennials want.
they have the most disposable income.
It'll be interesting to see where that show goes. I have a feeling they're going to kind of try and Sabrina it. So I don't know if did you guys watch Sabrina?
No.
Oh, the new one?
The new one?
Or the old? No, I haven't seen the new one.
Because it's very different. So it is no. First of all, no talking cat. Sadly. Actually, no. Actually, Salem talks.
I'm out.
Well, Salem talks in 2 episodes, but the new one is like heavily based in Satanism and like gore and blood and all sex and violence and all the good things. Oh. So I think that they're going to try and make Wednesday kind of like hip and cool and kind of groovy. So we'll see how she goes. But yeah.
How much money do you want to bet that he?
And Hispanic.
And Hispanic, yes.
Ortega.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm. How much do you want to bet that he finds some way to shoehorn his wife in there somewhere? It is Tim Burton.
I said she's going to be grandma.
Grandma.
She's magnificent, so I hope he does.
I do love her.
I want her to be grandmama, and I think Christina Ricci has to be Morticia. So I want that to happen.
Making a deal where she was going to play Morticia.
Well, look, there's been rumors, but this is the first official casting for the show, so that's why we're talking about it, because we have talked about it a lot recently. Now, the other thing that we have talked about a lot, and Katie and Luke aren't here, so no one's really going to care, but I care, so this is why we're talking about it today. The trailer has dropped for Fear Street, also on Netflix in July. Now, this is not 1, not 2, but 3 movies that are airing in 3 consecutive weeks over July. I am so excited. So for those of you that don't know / don't remember, Fear Street was R.L. Stein's other famous group of books. So Goosebumps is the more well-known one because it was for little kids. But Fear Street was the sexy teenage version. So it's like, ooh, they're kissing, and then there's murder, and there's ghosts and vampires and stalkers and witches and all that good kind of stuff. So that's what
Twilight equivalent of Goosebumps, right?
No, it's better. It's better. It's not as like emo.
Well, yeah. So if it's better than Twilight, if it's better than Twilight, it has a plot. It has believable characters, emotion in some way, shape, or form.
No Stockholm syndrome, you know.
Just let art wash it.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, I'm excited about it. Those books, I used to devour those books, and it scans through a lot of them. It starts in there's 3 movies. Starts in 1994, so it's going to be retro AF. It's going to be amazing. The second movie is 1978, and the third one is 1666. So it is. It's going to be so good. I'm already putting it out there now. So I talked about Luke. I talked about it with Luke, but now I'm letting Katie and Levitt know we're covering it on Uncensored Horror. So boom, cross promotion for shows. But we will be talking about Fear Street. So if you like Fear Street, we'll be talking about it. Well, I'm gonna keep going. I don't know where Jeff is. We're just gonna keep rolling.
Bring it. I'll try and be like.
You just need to swear a lot and get yelled. But that's all right.
Oh, okay.
He'll get there.
I'll try and pretend I'm up with popular culture.
Yeah, you're a dad. You can't help it. It's all right.
No.
You got that dad issue. Well, look, we'll talk about this because Miss Karen Ashley used to be a co-host on the show. Aisha is finally getting some decent action figures from the Power Rangers brand. Now, Karen, they did you dirty with your old figures, but these ones actually look like her. So in 2021, we are getting 2 Aisha figures by the looks of it. So all our Power Rangers fans out there, which we have many, because they have appeared on the show before, make sure you're ordering your Aisha stuff because look, they've done her right this time. They've got her with braids. They've got her with a side ponytail. She is good to go. I know Luke will be thrilled. Actually, I think Luke posted that article. So it's good to see that 2021 is bringing accurate action figures to the market as well. Yay! I'm happy.
PC culture gone wrong.
No, it's not wrong. She actually got
no, it's wonderful. Yeah,
because
awesome.
I feel so sorry for the girls. Those early action figures were not cute for them, and it's only in recent times now that us millennials. Yeah, well now they do because the millennials want them to come off. Vera, this is the point. What we want, we and get
we're
these
in
days.
charge now.
Yes, Vera. This is how we roll.
You're showing your spending power.
That's it. So speaking, good segue. You guys are probably not going to care about this at all, but I thought it was hilarious. So, Victoria Beckham was not too keen on a gift that was delivered to her from young Justin Bieber. So Justin has a new line of clothing called Drew House, and he pulled a very bold stunt by sending Victoria Beckham lilac Crocs embellished with cartoon animals for her to wear. She responded by posting them on her Instagram with a poll asking whether she would wear them. Will I be wearing the Crocs, she wrote. Well, that was close. I think I'd rather die. But thank you anyway, at Justin Bieber.
Oh, wow.
Meanwhile, the former pop star remains in the news by giving her customers of her fashion brand the option to have their clothes delivered to their door in a dedicated van so they can try on the pieces in the comfort of their own home, whilst she remodels her $6 million farm cottage. It really is a simple life, isn't it? Look,
not if you can't wear Crocs.
She's got them Spice Millions. She can do whatever she likes. But I found it hilarious that she put it to a poll. I think 42% of people wanted her to wear the Crocs, but she's like, "Oh, I'd rather die." I'm like, that's Victoria.
42% of people voted ironically.
I think so too. I'm kind of shocked to say this, but I agree with Victoria. I'd rather never wear a Croc.
I just can't.
Ugly.
Well, look, everyone tells me that they're super comfortable and whatnot, but I can't imagine they're like rubber shoes.
I've seen too many nurses hit a patch of wet and go down on their bum.
They are out.
Come on, they are not safe and they're butt ugly.
Do you know, as a chef, as a former chef, you know they've released a steel cap version of Crocs. So there are a bunch of chefs wearing them in kitchens right now, and I can't imagine anything worse either. No, thank you very much.
I love a kitchen clog. Oh, who doesn't love a kitchen clog? Oh,
I never got them. I had the Blundstone ones.
Oh, because you're a real man.
I
wear
screw
the beard.
Funky old 70s white nursing shoes than Crocs.
Oh, Vera, you look like you. Vera's got those shoes that look like she was going to be murdered by a serial killer in the 70s. Oh, speaking of,
I only had to buy them for graduation.
Speaking of, did anyone watch? I don't even have the artwork here, but has anyone watched Sons of Sam on Netflix yet?
Yeah, I'm on episode 2. I literally started watching it this week.
But I am unique in this panel as I remember Son of Sam.
Exactly. Well, this is what I wanted to talk to you about, because you're in New York State, so you weren't necessarily in the hubbub of it. But
yes, and to be
talk. This is what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about it. So what was it like, Vera? What was it like in the 70s living in that?
Well, I was not that old, but I was delivering newspapers, so I read it every night. And while I was delivering the newspapers, I'd read the headline and drop it off. So, but it was kind of scary, you know. I wasn't old enough to be in Manhattan by myself, so I never lived in that fear. But we do have a state penitentiary in my hometown, and Son of Sam was here for probably 15 years during his incarceration.
There you go. Look, she's got the inside goss.
Yeah.
I was completely blown away watching the first episode, and they were, when the shooting started to happen, and one of the effects when they were interviewing hairdressers, because there were a bunch of women going and getting their hair dyed if they had short brown hair, because that's who he was targeting. And it was like, wow, it was like that much kind of in the forefront of people's sort of daily lives.
I just have to interrupt everyone because we talked about this movie the other day on Uncensored Horror. Ace lives in near the town that's rented Sunday. Ace is near Texarkana, so that's apparently it smells like farts because of the paper mill. But anyway, that's amazing.
Wow,
I love it. Look, I tested the waters with the true crime thing, and no one really bit. So but I'm all about. I promise you, I don't go to that park. Ace, why are you so funny? Look, he's a funny boy. He's on Lover's Lane. We all know it. We can see you, Ace. Maybe we have to talk to. Maybe we can get Ace to find some old folks and. Oh no, they'd be dead by now because that happened a long time ago. Anyway, look, he's engaging. Oh yeah, the smell does get bad. It's a paper mill. It happens. But yeah, no, I found it a really interesting documentary. It jumps around a lot, so you got to actually pay it. It's one of those ones where you got to pay attention. So rude. Mm-hmm. But I did reach out to a guest that we nearly had, but his book is being made into documentaries now as well, so he can't do interviews. But I'm not going to tell you until the documentary airs as to who it is. But I would have dropped dead. Vera, you probably would have too, because I'll tell you who it is off air.
Okay. Fun fact about our little local penitentiary: it was the first place that they used death by the electric chair.
There we go. Yeah. Vera creating history like no one's business.
I didn't create it. That was way before.
I know. Although, look.
Yeah.
Go, Tim.
No. I because I'm obsessed with these true crime shows and serial killer shows and stuff. It's sort of my guilty pleasure with Netflix. I've gone through all of them. And so, I was talking about the electric chair. Being Australian, we haven't had the death penalty in our lifetime for a very long time. But I noticed that I was just looking up some stats that in Oklahoma last year, 2020, someone was put to death by the electric chair. That blew me away. I thought it was all lethal injection now, and it just seems so.
Texas, they also executed
crazy.
a man with developmental disabilities last year. So,
there was somewhere in the news this week that they've allowed firing squad as an option again as well. So time is a flat circle.
I do live in a very liberal state, though I don't live in a very liberal area. In New York State, the death penalty has been illegal for almost my entire life. So no one was executed by the electric chair in my lifetime. But the old timers would talk about it in town.
Wow.
The old folks.
It's so foreign, to
yes,
us.
I wish it was foreign to everyone in this country, but apparently not.
Didn't happen. Well, look, we're going to go from one legend to another for quite different reasons. Sebastian Stan and Lily James will star as Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson in the autobiographical series based around their sex change drama, now in production for Hulu. We'll have to wait and see how much more of the two we will see when the series debuts. Now, this photo recreation is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. She also has jumped into the red swimsuit for Baywatch and looks pretty damn close to Pamela Anderson. So
I hear that Courtney Love's been complaining about it. She doesn't want anybody
Courtney
making fun of her homegirl, but
Courtney has had a bit of a resurgence lately. She's taken control of her
daughter,
of her social media. She's running her own Facebook now. So I think Courtney's slowly
didn't
coming
her
back.
Daughter emancipate herself from her mother at one point?
Oh yeah, their relationship is a whole show within itself. I actually saw Courtney in concert not long ago, a couple of years ago now. I think it was 2018, 2017. And look, I was surprised. I thought, I don't know whether it's carryover from the 90s and like everything we know about Courtney Love, but I was like, this is going to be a fucking car crash. But she played for nearly 2.5 hours.
She was pretty good.
And
I remember her.
she was great.
When Kurt Cobain was still alive, I remember hearing her music then. And I also think she was
Hole. Was that her band?
Hole. That was the band. Yeah,
that is Hole. Yeah. Come on, Tim. This is
Hole.
prime our age. You should know that.
I was just checking.
With her acting chops, she did a couple movies. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
She did The People versus Larry Flint.
Yes, and she was really good.
She did an amazing. Which she got nominated for Oscars and Golden Globes for that, didn't she? I'm pretty sure. So. She also did one of my favorite movies that I watch every year on New Year's Eve called 200 Cigarettes, which was the first ever MTV movie.
I actually like that movie.
Yeah.
Not going on to B, Val. I love it.
It bombed in the box office, but I liked it.
It is like I watch it every year. It's one of those movies that I watch every year and it fills my heart.
I can't pretend to be that devoted, but I did like it.
The cast is amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, who are these?
Like
just Janine Garofalo and Jay Moore and Kate Hudson, Ben Affleck, Courtney Love, Paul Rudd, like all these people that would turn into huge stars, and it's just like,
Plimpton.
Anyway.
What's her? Martha Plimpton is in it.
Martha Plimpton is amazing in that movie. I live for Martha Plimpton.
Elvis Costello is in it.
Elvis Costello is in it briefly. Yeah. We can't spoil it.
Tim,
have you
seen it?
Have you seen? Have you seen it, Tim?
Absolutely. Dave Chappelle's in it.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle.
I'll have to check it out again.
I can't. Elvis Costello was here, dragging a dead girl around the party. I was like,
that movie is it. It just encapsulates 1999 perfectly. It's like such a time capsule of that time. It's really good.
And she was brilliant. She was brilliant in that movie. I thought, like, her acting chops should. Oh no, she did a movie with Charlize Theron called Trapped. Oh,
Oh,
I
Where-
remember
haven't
that
seen
one,
that.
but I thought
where she
I
was
thought
like she was the one of the bad guys, and oh yeah, that shit was great. But all right, I can't even believe I didn't lead with this, because if we're talking about movies that are amazing, that are a once a year watch, this was announced like a couple of hours ago. It's finally official, bitches. Hocus Pocus 2 is coming, starring Bette Midler, Kathy the Jimmy, and Sarah Jessica Parker as the Sanderson sisters.
Now that
It'll
I make a point of watching every year.
It'll debut in the fall of 2022, just in time for Halloween on Disney Plus, I'm sure. Talking about something that was a box office bomb that turned into a cult.
Cult
I don't know someone who doesn't love this movie. Like,
Wizard of Oz was panned when it first came out.
exactly. So there's no accounting for taste, really. But I'm so excited for this.
Well,
It's been rumored for so long, it's actually happening. They're in it. They're gonna be themselves. It's like,
yes,
Hocus-
the Sanderson sisters.
And Beetlejuice. Thanks, Ace. Yeah.
Ace wants Hocus Pocus and Beetlejuice. I don't know if we'll ever get Beetlejuice 2. It's been in
We
development hell
did
for
get
700 years.
Beetlejuice the musical though.
The musical's pretty cool. Yeah,
The
the musical is
darn
pretty
good.
cool.
It was actually
yeah,
the
I'm
best musical I
so-
saw on Broadway before COVID.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yep.
Oh my god! Speaking of musicals, and I wasn't going to talk about this, but hey, it's three of us. We're all vocalists here, actually. Did you see the trailer for Dear Evan Hansen?
Evan Hansen.
No, but I love that show. It's a great show.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I just went, I can't go to the movies to see that. Because I will do, when I hear the first couple of bars of You Will Be Found, I'm like this. I'm like, I can't.
Oh,
I won't be watching
Here,
it.
we'll
I'll be
be
like,
together. We'll cry together.
but waving through a window is like an anthem for like social anxiety, and that musical hits me right in the heart. I'm really excited to see it come.
I'm excited to see it too. So I did hear that Benjamin Platt was a
yes, Ace. Sorry,
dickhead during the filming or during the run of the show.
Oh well, look, when you're the star, I guess you can act however you like, can't you? I wasn't going to talk about that, but I was like, oh my god,
he was preserving his chops.
Dear Evan Hansen. One more thing that I'm super excited about because it's super retro, and then we're going to get into some more serious topics. Guys, Scream 5 is coming soon, and I'm super excited about it. So Courtney Cox.
All the unanswered questions.
Courtney Cox was just recently on Drew Barrymore's talk show, and her statement was, "This is the fifth one, you know. It's not Scream 5, though," she assured her former co-star who portrayed the original movie's first victim, Casey Becker. This is Scream. These directors, the directors, Matt Bertolini, Alfred, and Tyler Gillette, are incredible. It's a new franchise. It's hip. It's scary. It's just a new Scream. It's not a reboot. It's not a remake. It's just a brand new launch, and I think that it's going to be fantastic. So we still have to. It was originally already supposed to be out, but a global pandemic happened. Scream 4. Scream 5. Scream. We're just calling it. Opens January 14th, 2022. That movie, along with Clueless, probably defined my teenage years. So I cannot wait. I am moister than an oyster about
Probably give it a miss.
Vera,
look,
Go, Tim.
I agree on Clueless. I've got two teenage daughters, and so I recently showed them Clueless. Under the guise of it being Shakespearean and a work of art. It is. It's taming the shrew.
I know.
And it's
amazing.
Done.
So you did parenting. Right?
Yeah.
Good work.
Well, yeah, I'm making up for last year. Madonna. The year before last, Madonna was a guest on on the Eurovision Song Contest, which we're
He's here.
hello,
Wait, Jeffrey Emmett.
Oh my God, I can finally hear you guys, but I still think it's on a delay.
No, you're good. I can hear you.
That's
Good
all right.
time.
We can hear you. We can see you.
It
It's
syncs
okay.
with your voice. I'm sorry, Tim. Continue. Tim,
Sorry.
No, that's all right. No,
Yes.
yeah. So, year before last, Madonna was a guest artist for the Eurovision Song Contest, which I'm a bit mental about. It's actually the finals on tomorrow, and I'll be getting up early to watch it. But and my children saw Madonna's performance and went and said, "Who's that?" And I've never felt more ashamed and more like a bad parent in my entire life when my children didn't know who Madonna was. And I immediately stopped the broadcast and we turned YouTube on and we went on a Madonna tour to make up for it. But I felt deep shame at my children not knowing
you have
who
failed
Madonna
them.
was. Oh, absolutely. But I did look to set it straight, and we spent an hour on YouTube casting Madge's greatest hits to our TV and dancing around their living room, which was amazing.
I actually do remember. I actually do remember you messaging me going, "I think I failed as a parent. My children don't know who Madonna is." I was like,
"That's right. You had one job. One job."
Yeah. Yeah. One job, Tim. One job. Now, Jeff, I've held off on it because I wanted to know your opinion, but we just talked about Courtney Cox, so we've got to talk about this that is happening very, very soon, like next week on HBO Max. The Friends reunion is finally happening. So I know you got a lot of feelings, Jeffrey. You go.
I feel like we have to cancel next week's show so that we can all watch it at the appropriate time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a holiday for me. This is a big deal.
Pass.
The kids are obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with it.
Oh, I'm in.
I'm good. I'm game.
I was a little shocked when I saw the People interview and the footage that they released. I thought it was a very interesting choice on their part to have David Schwimmer talking about people going through hard times and being a phone call away, immediately followed by Matthew Perry seemingly having some trouble talking.
I have not seen the trailer, but I am excited to see the show.
Oh, it wasn't the trailer, because the trailer, Matthew doesn't talk at all. He's really like not in it, or he might have said, "I'm gonna cry now," but that was it. It was very short clips of him. But the People interview, I feel like
everyone else spoke.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
literally he goes, "I think I'm gonna cry now," but it wasn't it. I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, that wasn't slurred. That didn't sound crazy. Where this People interview, and it's like, why would you pick that clip out of all of them? Why? Why wouldn't you just cut him out of the whole damn interview?
Because, People is the pinnacle of journalistic integrity.
It's just at this point, like with our culture right now, we're still gonna use somebody's demons, because if he hasn't had a stroke or there's not a medical reason, then we're gonna just use his demons to try to get more attention to our magazine. Like, for shame on you, People magazine, for shame.
Well, I do wonder if this didn't come about because he's the most insolvent of the six.
I mean, girl, they just made $20 million off of Friends this year. He's not hurting for money. He's got dough. He's got.
Oh yeah, they've got the merchandising and the rerun rights sorted.
They're set for
the tail end on reruns for them.
I think it's medication. I think he's on something
where that money dwindles to nothing.
It's because the show keeps going up in popularity. So when Netflix had the $1 billion deal with Warner Brothers, they all made $20 million just off that. Yeah, like they were smart towards the end of that show. I feel like that was probably the first time.
Courtney Cox.
They geared themselves in, yeah.
Talked the other 5 into collective bargaining.
Mm-hmm.
And said, "Yes, dear."
I'm going to be controversial.
All right, I'm clenching.
I'm not really a fan. I'm not really a fan.
Shut the fuck up.
I didn't see it when it was on TV, because when it was on TV here originally, it was Monday nights, and I wasn't home Monday nights. No, I I was in the dance studio every Monday
Well,
night.
you were
till
in like 5th grade too
9
when
o'clock.
it started, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Think
I didn't
it's
start
that
watching
funny.
until it was, a few years in. But I can remember
actually,
not having a TV in my room. I had a radio, and I remember like the commercial for Friends coming on about this awesome new show. Like it was in its first season, and the radio, like, you know what I mean? Like it was a huge. People were talking about it on the radio.
I watched it.
Yeah,
the
look,
first
I know.
show
I know. I
kind
am
of
so
by
in the
accident,
minority.
and it
Oh.
was the Thanksgiving show of the very first season.
Mm-hmm.
Where naked fat guy, and they talked about him being the Play-Doh Fun Factory in his hammock, and I was all by myself. I don't know where everybody else in the world was, but I was so laughing my ass off alone in my apartment and on my little 13-inch TV. And I kept talking it up to all my friends. I was like, "No, you gotta watch this show. It's really funny." And they're like, "Yeah, we'll catch it." And like nobody watched it for another year except me.
And then boom.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing, like watching it now, I think why like the kids get it is because they're making fun of each other. They're picking on each other's lives and situations. It's not, oh, Clinton did this, or even the Golden Girls is very much like, if you don't know stuff from the 80s, you're gonna miss a lot of the jokes. Where Friends is very
The
much
Golden
geared-
Girls is the Golden Girls is untouchable biblical excellence. That's all I'm gonna say.
I love the Golden Girls.
If you want to know how to make a sitcom, you need to watch Golden Girls.
Friends
That's
is
all.
better.
Yep.
I'm gonna
I
say
think
it.
The opposite thing.
it's a tour de force of feminine comedy.
Work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Queen.
I love
All right.
my Golden Girls.
So we're gonna-
She's amazing, but it's a shame what they're doing to Matthew Perry.
Mm.
We're going to jump into some Vera territory now. The fluff is over. Vera, what do you think of our friend Kevin McCarthy announcing he will not support the January 6th Commission? Given the political misdirections that have marred this process, given the now, duplicative, I can't speak, potentially counterproductive nature of this effort, and given the speaker's short-sighted scope that does not examine interrelated forms of political violence in America, I cannot support this legislation.
Kevin McCarthy
Go.
is a douche canoe. This son of a bitch talked John Katko into negotiating this commission. John Katko is my representative. He's a Republican. I did try to get him unseated when he was running, but hey, he does represent my area. He did, in good faith, make a bipartisan agreement at the direction of Kevin McCarthy, and this fucking douchewaffle turns around and says, "I don't know where this came from. This is bullshit." Kevin McCarthy is a two-faced weasel who needs to be run out of town on a rant. There.
I couldn't agree more. Did anyone see Tim Ryan's response?
Yes.
to
Wasn't it brilliant?
wasn't that immaculate? And it was it was scathing and on point, and
Yes.
how many millions did we spend on Benghazi?
Exactly.
And we can't when we have a nationally televised insurrection, we can't have a bipartisan support for it. It's insane.
I know.
How much did they spend looking for that woman's emails?
God.
But
How much
we just,
money did Ken Starr spend finding that cum stain on Monica Lewinsky's dress?
Yeah.
Talk about your witch hunts.
The hypocrisy is it stinks to high heaven.
Absolutely.
All right, I love it. Thank you for saying hypocrisy, because we have to talk about another douche canoe. Joe Rogan
Oh God.
says giving into the woke mob will result in straight white men not being allowed to talk. Now, Vera, I'm gonna go to start with. This topic got a lot of it generated a fair amount of conversation on the page. If you don't understand why feeling victimized as a straight white male is an issue, then you're the problem. You're the asshole. You need to go and educate yourself. It's not a poor me moment. There are minorities of race, sexuality, gender, financial barriers, all this kind of stuff that suffer, and the whole world is just set up for the last couple of 100 years that if you're white, straight, have a job, and a man, hey, go. Everything is aimed at you. I'm not going to get any further because I got a genetic lottery to myself the other day. But Vera, you can start. You go for it, girlfriend.
Straight white American.
Yeah.
Is there any more put upon group in the whole world? Jeez. Oh my God.
I know,
people,
they're so
talk
unfortunate.
About snowflakes. Oh, they control the majority of wealth in this country. They control the majority of resources in this country. And now that other people are speaking out, oh, poor me, we're being silenced by the woke mob. Fuck you. That's what I got to say.
Yeah.
She's so fresh.
I don't know, but do you guys have any? Do you have any kind of sets of rules that if a person displays one of these behaviors, like it's off, we can't be friends? And for me, if they say I was listening to Joe Rogan the other night, we can't be friends. Like my respect level for that person has dropped so low that I'm not listening to them. I'm just like, look at your stupid face. I can't even
listen. If I like Joe Rogan, I don't like his politics or his bullshit, but I like his celebrity interviews. Like he said, some people I know on there, and I think he knows how to have a conversation, and he can keep things moving. But he gets off into his wacky tirades, and it's a little rough to listen to. It's like hanging out with Kirstie Alley.
Who now regrets endorsing Trump. Did you catch that?
I have not.
And look, my whole issue is things are falling down. Anyway, my whole issue is
did
that
your vagina fall out?
It did. My whole issue is that this straight white male gaze that has, proliferated everything for the last couple of 100 years negates anyone else's story. And you can't. It's like we're not entitled to have a feeling about anything because all we're doing is complaining. It's like, I'm sorry, straight white males. Did you have a disease that was killing like millions of your people? Were you deprived schooling because of the color of your skin?
Deprived of vote
because you're a female. Are you earning?
But I didn't own slaves.
Thank
I
you.
didn't hang gay people off a building.
Mexican Americans were denied the vote in this country until the
anyway.
70s.
Wait, no, that's the best part of all this now is they're all like, I don't want to show my vaccination card. I don't have to, blah, blah, blah. It's
yeah.
So you want to be undocumented now? That's cool.
Their rights, Jeff. Don't you step on their rights.
But they can step on everybody else's.
Oh,
well, look,
yes.
I think
that's why they're being.
They're my right. Look,
Bob.
everyone gets a gun and everyone gets an opinion.
As someone who is formerly very religious and has been in the religious sphere for a long time, the absolute need of religious white people to feel oppressed or to identify as they're being oppressed, and it drives me insane. Like, the reduction of your privilege is not oppression. All right, so and this,
it's like they have FOMO for being a victim.
Listen, you got to tell Karen and
fear of missing out.
They're really struggling.
Help me. I feel oppressed by that.
Oh yeah.
I literally had a stand-up yelling fight with my dad the other day about privilege, because he rolled his eyes and went, "Oh, privilege, is so what?" And I'm like, I don't. You guys in America probably don't know much about Australian history, but we had a thing called White Australia policy, and for a large part of our history, the government subsidized white European people to come and colonize here. And
Mel
I'm a
Gibson.
direct descendant of someone. Yeah, I'm a direct descendant of someone that came across from England as a 10-pound bomb, was subsidised by the government and given all of these privileges, and then to say that they don't experience privilege, it blows my mind. The very reason I live in this like wealthy country with all the freedom is because of racism. That literally I live every day in the privilege of a racist policy that allowed my parents to be subsidized to come here, and they're like they're upset whenever you mention it.
I do believe that Mel Gibson's family came to your country under that same program.
Mm-hmm. So many people.
Good segue. We've got a good segue about changing attitudes and changing of minds. So we're going to jump into a little section I like to call the view from here. Now, we've been giving our points of view all day long, but the reason we're going to talk about this topic is because we have a couple of really different and interesting shows that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about another one later, but we have another episode of Real Talk Roundtable coming up, all about self-care and mental health. Now, mental health seems to be a buzzword that is, I don't know, has been picked up in the last probably 2 to 3 years and carries a lot of connotation with it. I wanted to discuss today how your mental health journeys individually have informed the way you're living your life today, because I think, give it 20 years ago, you didn't talk about your mental health issues. You didn't talk about anything like that. You just went to the doctor, got some pills, or you went home and felt sad.
Or you killed yourself.
Yeah,
exactly. If you're a man, you don't talk about it. Yeah. Exactly.
So, Tim, I know your story, but if you want to start out, you can go for it. Go for gold.
Sure. I was talking to Steve earlier. Like, I'm someone who's now very out about my own personal journey with clinical depression and anxiety, and really passionate about this. So as a sort of in my 20s, just going to the doctor, just going and seeing my GP saved my life, and starting on a journey towards mental wholeness and mental health, and particularly in our culture in Australia, and I'm sure in the US and elsewhere, and especially in our very toxic masculine sort of culture, we don't talk about stuff like that. And so absolutely what Ace just said, it's stigmatized. And so we have this idea that we're somehow less than because we struggle with depression, and in the background I come from in the church, in religion, it's even further in a sense that not only are you broken as a person, but you don't have your walk with God isn't good enough for you to be better. And so therefore you're obviously not Christianing it good enough. And so you end up on the outer, you end up being seen as sort of somehow less spiritual or broken or whatever. So part of me leaving the church and sort of coming away from that is actually me being open about the help that I get with my own mental health, because that's completely unacceptable in that worldview. And so for me now, it used to be very black and white. Mental health was you were either mentally unwell or you're fine. But for me, mental health is about positioning yourself towards wholeness. It's actually the orientation of your life towards wholeness. That's what mental health is. It's not about being okay all the time. So learning to orient myself in that benefits my mental health. That's mental health for me, even though I still experience depression and anxiety and those sort of things. But yeah, it was really hard to just that be part of me and be in that world that I was in, because people just didn't understand. You don't talk about that stuff.
It's true. So
Absolutely.
true.
My journey, I spent most of
Well,
my
Vera,
teens-
you've probably got a very different. Yeah, sorry, we're all tapping out at the moment, of course, with the internet issues. That's okay. I'm having my turn now. Vera, talk about, because your everyday is very different to other people's everyday. Being a nurse, and how do you deal with that?
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say that my own journey started in my teens and 20s, where my insecurities and my anxiety and my depression ruled me to the point where I thought I was crazy and the rest of the world was sane. And it wasn't until my late 20s that I figured out that we're all a little bit crazy, and that it's just a button that goes on and off in every one of us. And as my journey in life continued, I did end up where I am today, which is psychiatric nursing. And I spend my days working with people who are run down by the system. And as they said, it's so stigmatized. I mean, every time somebody shoots up a building, yes, Jeff, I know you have to be insane to shoot people with an AR-15. But the majority of people who have mental health issues are not shooting up schools. They're not.
I never said that, bitch.
Never. Not once.
I'm just saying mental health is the problem. Why people are shooting up buildings.
Mental health is a huge part of it, but
All right, so Jeff.
Yeah, all right, but do we have more mentally do you have a huge mental health problem in the US that we don't have in Australia? Because we don't have people shooting up buildings here. We still have mental
have a
health.
huge gun problem.
We have a horrible medical institution with people.
Sorry, Steve. Sorry.
We're gonna do it now.
I know I'm new here and I'm stirring the hornet's nest. I'm so sorry.
No, Jeff.
Poke that bitch. Poke that bitch.
No, Jeff is very passionate about mental health, and for good reason. Your family background is obviously
fucking
very influencing of your point of view, but go for it.
Well, listen, when you've got two grandfathers
Talk to me about it, Jeff.
who tried to, one did put a cap in grandma's ass. The other one thought he killed the bitch and then killed himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why you don't pass on your genetics. It's just not good. You know? So,
yeah.
But as a teenager, being overweight, I tried a therapist. I went to this broad. I'm like, hello, here's the problem. And she's like, let's do a pie chart. Was done with that. Didn't really work out. Tried in my 20s, went and tried medication. Was like, this is not fucking the one for me. So let it go for years and tried to deal with it on my own. Did vitamins, was blowing sunshine up my ass, whatever I could to try to like pull myself out of stuff. And it was real rough. And then certain things triggered in like an 8-month time span where it was like, you know what, maybe it's time. And medication saved my life. I'm off it now, debating on, you know, what I'm going to do going forward, because I definitely struggle. Anxiety is a motherfucker, and it's ever present with 3 children that have their own behavioral issues. So I'm constantly anxious. And so I might have to go back on medication, but I think it's an everyday journey, right? You just try to take one day at a time and just, try again tomorrow.
Can I say something like on my perspective of medication? So for me, I'm someone who's been on some form of medication for depression and anxiety for 15 years now, and in a lesser degree now than when I was really quite unwell. Medication gave me the space to do the work I needed to get better. That's kind of like, it was kind of like a safety vest. It kept me alive long enough to do the work to actually deal with some of the stuff that was, so it wasn't so much that, you know, take the pill, now I'm better. It was sort of, now I have enough space in my life, and I'm not in danger of hurting myself as much, and so I can actually do the work. I think also, Vera, you said something before. You said we're all a little bit crazy, and absolutely right. That realization that the world's mental but also that just some of our coping mechanisms are far more socially acceptable than others.
Yes,
and that's why the
yes.
people who are mentally ill,
there's a lot of
they
self-medication
have
in this world. And I
100%.
feel that medicine gave you that safety net, but there are people who will need to be on medication for the rest of their days, and I
it may be
Oh,
me.
for sure.
yeah,
It might be me.
Yeah.
And
my adopted dad, he passed away a couple of years ago, and he took his own life. But he talked a lot about. He was a surgeon, and he talked a lot about. He called his depression brain diabetes, and so it was. And so he would, he was trying to talk me through being okay with medication and being okay with because it was always like you take medication when you're sick, and it was almost like I'm less than. And he was like, well, we don't get down on diabetics for taking their insulin. This might be just something you take to just level the playing field between you and everybody else.
I had a very similar. I'm sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I had a very similar conversation with a Christian youth who was coming to the clinic, and he was talking to me, and he just broke down. He said, God, why would God make me this way? I don't want to take these pills. It's not how God made me. And I just said, can we think about this in a different way? Can you think that maybe God gave us the intellect to find these pills so that you could become the best possible you? And I just reframed it for him. And to this day, no matter where I see this gentleman, he hugs me. He's just so happy that I reframed it for him, that this is
probably
God
saved his life.
in his life, and
and that's what I needed as a 25-year-old, somebody to come and say, it's okay. It's okay to take your medication. It's okay. You're not a weirdo. You're not broken. And this was someone I really looked up to. He's amazing man. And he's like, I've been taking medication for 20 years. This is how I live my life. And just made it okay for me, which is part of what I want to do about being so outspoken about being someone with clinical depression and anxiety, because it makes it okay for someone else to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was never anti-meds per se. I didn't like the ones that they had tried me on, what it did to me. I wasn't cool with that. And they just kept screwing up. So later on, when I was at the point where...
what the most important thing... The most important thing is, I think, what everyone is trying to say is that when you know what you need, you're able to actually, and as Tim said, if what you need is medication, it allows you the space to do the work that you need to do. But you've got to acknowledge that there's an issue and a problem first. And having that kind of self-knowledge and understanding that you need to care for yourself before you can care for other people and the world around you is a pretty deep thing that didn't happen 10, 15 years ago. Do you know what I mean? That was not the situation and the space that we're in. And there's that's
and we have
the
a long way
basis
to go.
of the Real Talk Roundtable.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we do have a long way to go. The conversation has started. So if you are someone like Ace, who just said that finding our show helped him with his mental health journey, that's amazing.
That is
come
amazing.
and join
I'm
us
so
next
glad,
week.
Ace.
We've got a really great show on self-care. It's a very interesting show to watch. I think we're moving in some very different directions, but they're conversations that need to be had. So I'm very proud that we're having them. We're running overtime now, so we're going to jump into a little section of the day that always gets us warm and fuzzy. It's called Vera Vents. Any second now. The animation didn't play, but it's okay. Vera, how about you give us your vent in 3, 2, 1?
All right, I'm going to talk about one of the favorite wedge issues here in American politics, one that gets trotted out every 2 years when we have a national election, and that is abortion. Significant numbers of people in this country identify as pro-life. And I understand seeing the hashtag Save the Children. We're about the children. But I want to throw out some numbers now. In 2017, there were 800,000 abortions in this country, the whole country. That number has only gone down because of the restrictive abortion legislation throughout the country. The total number of children in this country is 73 million. 1 out of 7 children, 10 million children live in poverty. 1 out of 6 children, 13 million children live in hunger. An additional 5 million suffer from food insecurity. Now, you can tell me that you're pro-life all you want, but until I see you back food stamps, social safety net, health care, and education for all, don't you dare tell me that you are saving the children, because I'm going to tell you you're a fucking liar, a fucking hypocrite, and pretty damn unchristian. Now, the death penalty. How many of you people that are pro-life support the death penalty? Is there anything more anti-life than the death penalty? No opportunity for redemption, no ability to grow or evolve, no ability to make amends, just end your life, including the death of mentally ill and developmentally disadvantaged people who commit murders without any depth of understanding. And lastly, don't ever tell me you're pro-life if you refuse to accept climate change science, because all life, every last bit of it on this planet, will be over if we don't get our heads out of our asses next soon. Thank you.
And that's why we love Vera. That's why we love Vera. Now, Jeff, before we finish up, you've been working on something behind the scenes that's going to be airing this week as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about the show that's airing on May 26th?
Sure. We have the Maxwell family coming on, and they're talking to us about their journey with their son Michael, who has autism and he's nonverbal, and what they've gone through, how he was diagnosed, what programs have worked for him. And they're in a city in an apartment, and when you have a child with special needs, that can be destructive. It's hard to rent. A child like, Michael needs to be outside, run free. So we're trying to help them reach their goal of raising $50,000 on a GoFundMe campaign. They've already raised $34,000, so it's pretty amazing. So we're hoping we can push them over the edge. So check it out. Donate if you can.
Yep. We've got a little trailer.
Cut me off one more motherfucking time tonight, bitch, and I'm going to cut your balls off.
I'll bring it. I'm putting up your beautiful trailer. Just watch your trailer, girl.
I didn't make it.
Just watch your trailer.
Tonight we have a very special show for you. Oh no! We have Stacy and Bill Maxwell on with us, and we're going to talk about their story and their journey with their son Michael, who's diagnosed with autism. And there he is in the background, such a cute guy. Can you guys talk about when did you first start seeing signs that something might not be right?
I guess probably the first thing I noticed was he would like to rock himself. When he started standing and pulling himself up and walking, he would want to just stand and rock, and I thought that's kind of odd. And he was late to talk. I mean, he's still nonverbal, but he was late to even produce noise. Of course, now we didn't know back then that that's what it was, that he needed constant stimulation, but looking back on it now, he needed constant stimulation.
By the time he was 3 is when we started really going, we need to have this kind of further looked into, and that's when we really started working on all the things that now have become our life. And now we're starting to get to a place where we can figure stuff like that out. And that's all because of the ABA. It's all of that work coming together.
So ABA is Applied Behavior Analysis, and it is the only scientifically proven method of helping individuals on the autism spectrum to learn the skills that they need to learn to be able to do whatever they want to do.
So, yes, that is airing next week, the 24th, I believe. So we've also got Real Talk Roundtable with Self-Care and the regular UCR show, UCR Live, next Friday in US. Next Thursday, US time. So there's lots of love coming at us from you. We're out of time today. We're actually over time today because, we're great. We're so busy. We had a lot to talk about.
Here's the secret. There is really no time limit. We can do whatever
there
the hell
is
we
no
want.
time limit, which is why I'm going to briefly talk about this before we, as a palate cleanser. So for those of us that are into a little bit of paranormal information, the paranormal world's biggest bro invites us inside his haunted mansion. Discovery Plus are teaming up with the staunchest dude, Supreme, Zach Baggins, to investigate the stories and claims behind the items in his self-curated Las Vegas haunted mansion. The objects in Baggins' museum are said to have an effect over the visitors who have visited them since the museum's opening in 2017. There's various paranormal occurrences associated with the items, which includes a mirror once owned by Bela Lugosi. The episodes will be 1 hour each, featuring on each item in the museum. So that'll be interesting. But the reason why we bring this up is because we're having some visitors again soon. I've been talking behind the scenes. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Anne and Renata will be joining us again on Uncensored Radio next month. They are always a hoot and a half. So if you're interested in anything to do with the world of paranormal amazingness or just really like a laugh, join us for that show as well. Thank you, Jeffrey and Vera and Timothy, for joining us today on UCR Live. And we will see everyone again, hopefully soon. Take care, be kind to each other, and I don't know.
Okay, Alan.
Don't lick PowerPoint.
Thank you so much for having me.
Jeffrey, I told you to not call me Ellen till we were off the air. Off